Well, welcome, 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 everyone. This is the Worthy Women Movement interview series. And today we have the wonderful Dana Schwarsky. I hope I pronounced that right. I should know it by now. Beautiful Dana is in the house, and she is one of the authors of Rising into Greatness, stories from inspiring and courageous women. So welcome, Dana. It's
Thanks,
great to have you here.
Joe. Thanks, Joe. What a project. Hey.
What a beautiful journey. We've been on this journey together with the other authors, myself and Jane Turner from Write with Jane, and 9 other authors have been on this incredible 6-month journey. So before we actually get started, there's a few questions that I am going to ask you about your life and about the chapter, your incredible chapter that you wrote for this book. I will actually do the official part and read whoever's listening your bio. Dana is known as the Travel Connector through the work that she has done as the founder and creative director of the Travel Show Australia. She is passionate about reconnecting people and places and helping the travel industry to flourish again. As a former travel consultant, business development manager, and online business mentor, Dana has not only helped business owners take their brilliance to new places, but she has also survived 3 near-death experiences and defied the UN. She is well known for helping people to establish strategic partnerships through showing them how to make collaborations easy and get more marketing bang for their buck. Dana's passion project connects people who have been adopted, like she has through her My Adoptive Heart project. And her 2 life mantras are to make a difference, collaborate and grow, and to travel, inspire and grow.
Yes.
There we go.
Yes.
So welcome, Dana. So let's talk about this incredible chapter that you wrote. Now, Dana's chapter is called Taking My Power Back. So I don't know whether you can actually see that well on the screen. It's all about taking your power back, and you take us on a little bit of a journey. And it is a journey, and it has been a big journey for you. And what I first after I read your chapter, I thought, my goodness, there's been so much diversity in your life, but also in the jobs that you've had and the businesses that you've ran. Like, you've been an English teacher in China. You've had you created Dinner on the Go, which was your founding mum show. You can talk about that if you like. And you've got the Travel Show Australia as well. And I know that you've got different other streams of income, and you speak about that in your chapter as well. So let's tell anyone who's listening, what are you currently working on?
What am I currently working on? It's funny because you read that bio and things have evolved even since, well, you went to Bali, Joe. So much has happened. I haven't had a chance to catch up with you. Some really exciting things. And I also found when I was writing the chapter, I was kind of like, I wish I could include this, or this is happening right now. And when I finished the book project, I felt like, oh, there's so much more now that I've been unleashed. And I've finally got to a point where I'm like, through what I learned with Jane and everything, and the other authors in the container over the months prior to this book launch, I felt that, things are happening now. Like, it took me a while to get into the writing. And so what I've found is, oh God, it's just so, actually, you know what? The classic Dana. Can you come back to the original question? Ask me the original question again, Joe.
So I was talking about the diversity and all the different jobs and businesses. And then I said, what are you working on now? What are you doing actually now?
So what I was trying to say was, in the bio, it says that I was a former travel consultant, right? Well, lo and behold, I actually did put my travel business on hold, but I've relaunched it because transformation and some stuff happened in my life recently. And the message that I received was, well, I made a decision to not have my travel agency business. I was doing other things, but that's when everyone started to actually ask me to do that service again. Sometimes in business or in life, you think you know what your path is, and you get so set on a certain thing. And I've learned to be adaptable. And but the message to me was, well, maybe I shouldn't be closing my travel business, and maybe I should reopen it. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, yes.
And that's what part of my, I guess, getting my power back was, not being so set in a path and then being disappointed in myself when those things didn't happen.
Yeah.
And learning to adapt. And that's what I think is a strong message that I want people to understand is, you've got to learn to go with the flow. You've got to be adaptable.
Definitely. And look, you've had this, and it's actually quite evident in your chapter, you've had this real love of travel. And, you know, a lot of your jobs have been revolved around travel. So to me, it's no surprises that you've actually gone back to that element of your business.
Yeah.
Had such a love of travel as well.
There's lots to say on that. Like I said, when I finished the chapter, and then with all the things that were happening in my life, and even some of the work just with you, because you were very supportive, you and Jane were both very supportive, probably more supportive with me, I feel, than probably any other of the authors, because I was just I mean, I'll be confessed, there were times when I was going to pull out. There was times I was going to pull out because I was just doing so much, or things were happening in my life that I didn't feel I could talk about. But being, this chapter for me was a really what's the word? It was like my counseling. I found it
very healing. I think
it was a huge healing process for me. It was very, what do they say? Cathartic.
Cathartic. Yeah. And I think that writing, that's the beauty of writing, and that's why I encourage everyone to write.
And I'm not a natural writer. I mean, I'm told I'm a natural writer, but that's not normally how I process things. I don't journal. And everyone says you should journal. But you know what I noticed? Like, that became a pressure. Or to dinner, write a journal. Because like, that's sort of like, that's something you do consistently. But I can tell you, when I think about journaling, it brings up anxiety in me, because I know in times in the past, as a kid, if I started a journal, I've got half-started notebooks. I've found them in the past. And I don't do it. The best thing, for me, Facebook can be a journal, because I love that all these memories come up. I love that all these memories come up in Facebook. And that's, to me, this is like a living, working journal, you know?
Absolutely. And I think that writing needs to be fun, because it's a part of a time where you can connect to your heart and your soul, and it's not supposed to be from your head, and you're not supposed to be in that logical masculine side, and it is supposed to be joyful. So if you're not getting joy from it, you either don't do it or you change the way that you do it. And that's a really good point, because I do a lot of writing on Facebook, because I'm a big social media fan, a big social media user, as you probably know, within my business. And I actually keep records now of everything that I write. I put in, like, substantial stuff that I really like, I put into my notes, and that can actually become a chapter in a book, or can become a whole book. It's little things that you can do to tweak it so it suits more you, rather than just getting out a pen and a paper and a notebook and journaling, or what am I going to journal about today? It shouldn't be forced. So that's the thing about writing. But and you've got a few other projects on the go as well. So you're always quite busy. And apart from the fact that that you have 3 children as well, and you speak about that, you call your children your pumpkins.
Yeah, my 3 pumpkins. They've always been my 3 pumpkins. It was just an endearing thing that began. It's funny. I don't know how it started. I just called them my pumpkins. My husband's the man I married was he's American, and I've always had a thing for autumn, I guess, fall, as they say. I was born in September, so I always knew that I would have been a September baby, if I lived on the north in the northern hemisphere. And I just I don't know, just pumpkins just started, and it just stuck. So it was just like dinner and the 3 pumpkins. Well, actually, no, it used to be dinner and the 2 pumpkins. And it's actually funny. I remember I used to run a networking group, and it was called Founding Mums. And that just mentioned briefly in my chapter.
You do mention it, yes.
Yeah, but it's because it was a really pivotal part of my life. But when I did actually start it, I didn't have a business. I kind of coined the phrase, my kids are my business, till I found my business. But it wasn't about branding them, even though certain people in my life didn't like what I was doing. It wasn't about that. It's just I did. It sounds strange, but I had a Twitter handle, and everyone else, business owners that I knew from this networking group, you know, their handles were something to do with their business or whatever. And I said, I don't have a business. I have two kids, two pumpkins. And then someone said, that's really cute. So I used to call myself Two Pumpkins Mum.
Look, since I've known you, you've always referred to your children as that now, because since I've known you, you've had 3 children.
Well, it's been
you know, life is busy for you, juggling. So how do you focus on one task at a time and prioritize?
Oh, well, it's lovely that you think that I focus and prioritize, Jo. But
well, I didn't say that. I just
well, you said it in a positive way.
Yes.
But there are people that it would think, oh, shaking their head, or I don't know. I'm probably actually, you know what? I got to stop this, because even right now I'm thinking about, what do other people think? You know, and I'll be honest, it's just something that I'm trying to release and let go of, and I'm acknowledging it, so I can move on, and it's part of me rising into my greatness.
And you know what, like when I do interviews, I say to whoever I'm interviewing, just see it as a conversation. Don't see it as an interview, or don't see that it's, you know, that it could be used for promotional.
No, I'm what I mean by this, Jo, is I'm kind of conditioned by things that happened in my life, worrying about other people's opinions of me. And
well, it's very common. I'm not that I'm deluding what you're going through, but particularly women, and it's one of the biggest blockers into rising into their greatness, is that they worry too much about what other people think, and the judgments and the rejection. And it's like,
there's that word rejection. No adoptee wants to hear the word rejection.
Yeah, so that's a little bit about, like, it's like a picture. But the thing is, the right people will always align with you, and I see rejection as a good thing, because it means it's sort of like the universe, God, whatever your belief is stepping in and aligning you with the people that actually like you and celebrate you. So that's a way that you can flip that around, so you don't feel like you are being rejected in a bad way. And it's like, oh, okay, so the universe is, you know, helping me here and just aligning me with the right people. So now in your chapter, I'm sure you've got a book in you, many books in you.
One day, I like you say that. Like, I think of it as my book, and that's probably, this is the second book project that I've done, Jo, and I'll have to say, based on that experience, this experience I had around that first book, based on this one, I'm proud to say I'm owning the fact that I'm a co-author more. And I think that's really part of is testament to the fact that I've risen more into my greatness as well.
Absolutely. And you know, you do talk about that in your book, in your book. There I go again. In your chapter.
It's just foreshadowing, Jo. It's just foreshadowing, because a book can come. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
You taught me that.
At least one
you and Jane proved to me, or helped me see that you know, that there's a lot more that I can write. And whenever, you know, I was getting frustrated that I wasn't putting enough or whatever into this chapter, and then, you know, it's sort of like, well, there's another one there, you know. It can be a springboard to other things, you know.
Absolutely. And that's what I want all the authors that are in this book to really, really understand: the value of being a co-author, the value of being in an anthology book, and being able to promote themselves as a published author. So on that note, what made you want to really become involved with this project?
You, Jo, and the Worthy Woman movement. And it's something that I have been a part of do you remember how we met, Jo? Do you remember how we met?
I do remember how we met. It was, yes, because I was it was on a Zoom call, and it was quite, no, you actually, it wasn't Zoom. I think it was you just videoed me, messaged me quite randomly. It's like, who is this woman video messaging me? She hasn't made an appointment, and there you appeared on my screen. It's like, oh, goodness gracious, I'm glad I've got some clothes and some makeup on. Not that I had to take it, but I just sort of answered it, and I go, oh, it's video, and I don't even know this person.
Well, we connected from the get-go. But I remember you being kind of new in town, and somehow someone had said, oh, you were looking for someone or something to do with that, like the first conference you did here. So and
on
I
the
know
Gold
you,
Coast.
I know you do your conferences, your summits, and you do a lot for in this creation of this Worthy Woman movement, which is great. But I remember when we met, I don't know, something clicked, and though I was helping you in with that event and that business from a marketing point of view, after that, it just kind of, like, I know that I went on this journey, and I learned that, wow, you came into my life because I was going to need you. And I say that because you're all about self-love, and that was something that I clearly was not good at. And I just felt there's a point in me that was like, okay, this woman's in my life, why? And what am I getting from this? What am I needing from her? I always feel that if I need something, the right person appears.
The right people will show up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's one of those things I'm more aware of now. I've noticed, like whether I manifested you or whatever, I don't know. Who knows? Like, I do believe the universe is. And it's mentioned in my first book that I did with another co-author project. Essentially, you meet people for a reason in the universe, and how you intertwine will be revealed in time. And I think that's what's beautiful about our relationship, Jo, is that it has developed over the years in various different ways. And
it's been a few years now.
Yeah. And also, when we first met, you were very supportive of a charity that I used to work in.
That's right. That's how we connected, because I was wanting to connect with a charity for my thank you. Now you've reminded me. That's actually how we connected, because I was looking for a charity to align with, because I was running my first Women Rise conference, which is now called the Women Rise Conference. It's been through a few changes, and that was on the Gold Coast. And I was looking for the charity, and someone introduced me to you because you were working for that particular charity at the time, which aligned with my values, because it was actually to do with
solving homelessness in all its forms.
Homelessness.
And you work with that. You work with that now. I mean, I didn't ask because we didn't. This is your project, but your woman, what's it called, Worthy Woman movement. You're aligning again with that charity. Well, at the last conference, you were aligned with
Lily's House, which charity. Is a very Lily House, which is a really small charity on the Sunshine Coast that's non-government funded. And each conference,
and that's what I loved about you. You were very passionate about wanting to do that.
Yes.
And with the other book project, obviously, I was going to be involved in that, but then the other things happened. And here then,
we are.
Here we are. So I was meant to do this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's this book, and, you have to get, for anyone listening to this, when you get your hands on it, I'd love to know your feedback, because, I felt the energy of each person really rising into their greatness. It was this beautiful collective energy. And when I hold this book in my hand, it's actually a different energy to any other book. And I am genuinely really proud of each of you, Dana, and every author in this book, because every story really, really displays how you've risen into your greatness through courage, determination, resilience, through, really heartfelt stories are shared in this book. And you feel, if you're into energy, and everything's about energy, right? You will feel it. You will feel it as soon as you pick it up. So I can't wait to get it out there in the world, and for more people to read it and feel that beautiful energy. So now
there's another reason why this project is very special to me. At the time when I wasn't sure I should be doing it, this is the sign that I got. The first meeting with the other authors, when we got to meet them, do you remember what happened?
Yes.
One of the other authors,
Kylie.
Yeah, one of the authors appeared and reminded me of my past and how we were connected. And that was the critical sign for me that's like, no, I'm supposed to be here, even though right now I feel like I don't. So thank you, Jo, for helping me reconnect with someone from my past. Like, I'm talking like when I was in high school, like my dance teacher. And then of course also reminded me of how important dance was to me and is to me, and how I chose to not explore that after high school, and that probably let go a part of myself, so
you know what, like, maybe it's a little prompt as well. That's wonderful that you've reconnected with Kylie. And Kylie Burton's, her chapter in here is also incredible. So much resilience with what that woman has been through as well. And like, so many tears of compassion when I read Kylie's chapter. But it's probably also a prompt that, we forget about the things that bring us joy. And if dance brings you joy, maybe it's a prompt for you to go back to that and do some more.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, and anything that's creative, I think, helps our heart and our soul, no matter what traumas we're going through or challenges or stresses. If we have joy in our life every single day, it just brings that extra, like it takes us out of that misery. It takes us out of that stress, even if it's momentarily, and it does help our whole nervous system as well. So I feel even intuitively for you, that maybe it's a little, not a little prompt, a big prompt for you maybe to go back to dance, because you loved it so much and you were so excited when you reconnected with Kylie. It was very, very evident.
Well, it actually has made me, since this process, really look at like other things in my world that are there, how it's still there. Like my daughter's a dancer now, and I'm just like the dance mum, or I was a dance mum, so to speak. And just like my love of musical theatre, my love of just like watching YouTube and watching all the old film movies that to do with dance, and there's other ways. And just reconnecting with Kylie just makes me think of the other dancers that I was connected to in years gone by, and they're out there on
beautiful.
Facebook, and just like I know, like Kylie was my year 12 dance teacher, so that brings up a whole lot of memories of what you're doing when you're like, my son's in year 12 coming up like
Oh,
next year,
wow.
so it's kind of like,
Okay.
oh my god, so when I read her chapter, I mean, this is not supposed to be the Kylie show right now, it's the Dana show. But when I read Kylie's chapter, because I have, I was excited to understand what has happened in her life.
Oh, wow,
I
that's a
was
big
like, I
story.
can't believe all this was happening behind the scenes when she was my dance teacher.
I know,
You know
you
what I
would
mean?
like,
That's what made me go, wow.
she's such a professional. She's just like, the show must go on. But
Yes,
unfortunately,
that's
you have to read
exactly it.
Kylie's chapter as well. But we are speaking about you, Dana, and we're going to be
Yeah,
interviewing Kylie on Monday. So there will be footage in
excellent.
regards to Kylie as well. So you talk about being adopted in your chapter,
Mm-hmm.
and you talk about it in your bio as well.
Mm-hmm.
So what made you want to really touch on that subject? And I know that you've got a passion project that's
Oh, I've got a passion
your
project that's gone
adoptive
on and off
heart
the
as
shelf for
well.
years. Yeah. It's gone on and off the shelf because it's a passion project. It's something that takes time. It's something that takes money, and it's not designed to make me money. It's designed as part of my self-development,
Yes.
and part of my identity and my self-discovery. And I also learned through the process of what I've been going through, how I probably haven't embraced the adoption part of me as a kid. Like at the end of the day, I'm very happy with the fact that I was adopted. I had a great upbringing, as in I had great parents who supported me. But there are elements of being adopted that can be quite traumatic.
Yeah.
It's called the primal wound. And
Yeah.
so there's certain things that I now know that I have probably done as coping mechanisms growing up in my life,
Yeah.
because I was adopted. And there's a whole lot of reading about that. And when I finally took the time to work on me and the issue. See, here's the thing. My adoptive heart is the name of my passion project. And when the idea began, it was because I had been having conversations with fellow adoptees, and one in particular was a really good friend who my travel mini mag was inside an app and a magazine, past magazine with Melissa Green. She's an adoptee as well. So the idea of facilitating conversations with all walks of life around adoption, different facets of adoption, really interests me. But I remember getting caught out once because someone said to me, and this person was someone who was the wife of an adoptee. So she was obviously very supportive of her husband who was adopted. She said to me, Dana, when are you going to stop talking to everyone about their adoption? And when are you going to just talk about your own? And that hit me hard, because I can see that was probably a coping mechanism. I'm Dana the connector, yet I have been feeling very disconnected for a lot of my children's lives. And I touched on that in the book and why.
You do touch on that. Do you want to expand on that? Or
okay, well, I had postpartum depression with number 2, and I've always felt very guilty about that.
Yeah.
I don't want to say I was made to feel very guilty. I would rather say I allowed myself to feel guilty. That's the other thing. And yeah, there was well, you know, I don't want to say I'm the reason, but I'm the reason I'm not a good wife or whatever. But apparently, you know, infidelity has happened in my marriage, and yeah, when I actually found out about this, it was years later, and it just puts a whole perspective on who am I? Not only who am I because I'm adopted, but who am I because the life I've been living feels phony and fake. And I clearly have been feeling disconnected for years anyway. And now this makes sense. So after having all this anger and pent up and, you know, thinking I'm the problem and for all this stuff, it just, at the end of the day, like I felt abandoned, but I also feel like I've abandoned myself. The big thing is it's not about who abandoned who or whatever anymore. It's, for me, it's about I've abandoned myself. I've abandoned my values. I've agreed to things in the past because, you know, or, you know, what forgiving, that's not the point. The point is that, you know, right now, you know, sometimes I hate to say it, but, you know, women stay for the kids. And then it comes a point, I guess, where people have to say, now I have to leave because of the kids, you know, like.
We actually say that in your chapter, and in
Did
actual fact, your very start of your chapter, your third line, like it was straight in there. It all came crashing down around me as the truth of my husband's infidelity and years of smoke and mirrors came to light. And then you say a little bit further down, halfway down the page, over time, I came to realize that I was really angry at the woman staring back at me. She'd been lying, abandoning and portraying herself, which is basically what you just said. So it's been this whole journey. And I suppose that's the crux of your chapter too.
So I'm Jenna the connector. Yeah, I felt so disconnected, you know, and
within yourself,
within myself and with my intimate family. So that's kind of, then you feel fake and phony. And we all talk about being authentic.
Well, I think it's just avoidance. You know, you're looking after
and that's a big
else.
crutch. Adoptees, and because of the work that I'm involved, when I say work, because of the community that I've embraced or that I've met, and I've always been a community builder, but I've actually spent time and, you know, in other communities now. I'm getting the joy from other people's communities. So that's part of the reason why I like you, Joe, because I like being involved in the Worthy Woman movement. I'm not leading the movement. I'm actually just participating in the journey of it, which is fantastic, which is a different thing for me. You know, I am a natural born leader, but I have actually enjoyed the journey this time, as opposed to being like, well, I'm going to create a Worthy Woman movement. You know, I don't need to do that. I get to be a part of yours.
Well, I'm very proud of the movement, because the women that you know, been attracted into the Worthy Women movement are like incredible. You know, they're creative and they're talented and they're gifted and they're powerful and they're wanting to step into their visibility. So there's a lot of great women in the community, and it's even with getting back to this book project alone, the collective energy of the women in this, like whether it be energetic or whether it be actually full, so like, you know, tangible support, that the support was always there. And that's what I love about anthology books, because being a solo author myself, it's great to have my own book, and I'm writing another second one and a third one, etc. I am writing 2 books at the moment. Like, don't just write one, Joe, write 2. But with the anthology book, that's something you don't get as a solo author. You don't get that collective group energy of support. And in your case, it was even more special that you got to reconnect with, you know, Kylie as well.
And I need that support. I actually,
like the group support.
I
need
the
connection.
Yeah, and I love learning about the other people. I just that's being a connector. That's kind of, I'm a co-creator. I'm definitely a co-creator, and
you're a people person who needs to be, and I know you're a Virgo, and Virgo's ruled by Mercury, and I don't want to make it all about astrology, but that just means communication is exceptionally important to you. It's important to everyone, but when you got a dose of Mercury in your chart, it's like that's your ruling planet. That's your status quo to communicate. And I know for you, you're more a natural speaker than a writer, but I always say, as a writer or an author, you need to be a speaker, and as a speaker, you need to be an author, because they work so beautifully together. So this whole chapter chapter can be repurposed in so many different ways.
Well,
Now,
it
I do
kind of
want to
has
ask
been.
you-
It kind of has been, because if you recall, I was in another book project previously, and as I said, I was celebrating being a first-time author back then, but because of what was happening behind the scenes, I felt phony and fake, and I didn't really embrace it. I didn't sort of leverage it, or I didn't like stand proud and tall and be like, oh, I'm a co-author. I don't think I even wrote it anywhere. But
Well,
with
this is the problem.
I want to. Actually, I'm happy. I talk about that previous one more now as well, because I'm owning it. The fact that I've done this, and I've been told that I've been conditioned to believe that I have done nothing with my life for the past 10 years plus, that I, and stuff like this.
Once you get to do that self-exploration of self, and you work on your own self-esteem, you start to realize the lies that other people tell you.
Yeah.
And I must admit, what I love about what I don't like about anthology books is the lack of support and the help with the promotion afterwards. It's this process now that everyone's getting their book and we're going through the next couple of weeks of promotion is such an important part, because I don't want authors to just come in and write a chapter and then be gone. I want you to actually utilize this. And I've been very strong about that from the very start of this project. And I think that's what's lacking out there in the industry, from what I can gather. And I've been in anthology books where I haven't got half the support, even a quarter of the support that Jane and I have given our authors. So I'm very proud of that. And I don't want to, it's about value, and it's about really customer service, client service, and making sure that everybody is really, really, I mean, I can't make you feel proud, but I can inspire other authors to feel proud and take ownership and really promote this.
Well, I feel more comfortable with the marketing side of things than I did with writing the book. Do you know what I mean? That's because that's I do. I've got a marketing platform. Well, my business is evolving into a marketing platform for transformational travel, with the things that I've got going on. And so for me, this is just a part of my marketing mix. But I love that it's more about my personal side of me, because people like to get to know you. And I've learned from other inspiring people in my life that besides yourself, that collaboration projects are a great way to grow your business. And put it this way, there are 10 authors in that book, okay? And as a collective, and because we all get along, if 10 people are talking about the book, okay, then that's potentially people that I don't even know reading my story. And then I might connect. There may be someone who's adopted who reads that story and connects with mine, you know. So
I must say, because we need to wrap up fairly shortly. So what I was going to ask you is really, how are you rising into your greatness right now?
Well, I've got some exciting stuff happening next year. I'm preparing for how my business is going to evolve next year. I'm relaunching the Travel Mini Mag in the very near future, and it's gone from being inside Mums in Business magazine when that collaboration and project ended, because the lovely person I was working for now has gone on to her greatness and is doing what she wanted to be doing in the speaker world. My magazine, I'm very excited to announce, is going to be inside the Corporate Escapist magazine and Justice Planned Weddings, which is fantastic, because I will be able to serve as a travel agent again. I'll be able to serve and do a lot of travel deals and stuff for honeymoons, obviously in the Justice Planned Wedding side of things. But then in the Corporate Escapist magazine, because my business is about creating retreats and marketing the retreats of others, I'm in that space already. And I've got clients and projects already in the works for next year and beyond. So I can't talk about all of them yet, but I've had a number of people reach out to me and want to do certain things, and this is how I can serve and stay in my lane, So
it was such an honor to witness, and we're talking about you, but all the authors, but I specifically want to talk about you because I'm talking to you now, is that your rising into your greatness the last 6 months was very evident. So not only were you actually in this beautiful collective energy of writing this Rising into Greatness book, it's sort of like this natural energetics that happen when you're already in that collective energy. And each and every one of you have risen in your greatness. And I know, like, from 6 months ago to where you are now, there's been so many different projects, and you've got this new lease of life. So if you want to, you know, for anyone listening today, or today, tomorrow, whenever they listen to this this interview, what advice would you give them with everything that you've learned? You've probably got a huge amount of wisdom, but if you were to give one bit of advice, what would it be?
One bit of advice.
Just one.
Joe, you put me on the spot here. I think,
What's something what's that one integral thing that you've done the last 6 months that's helped you rise in your greatness? What was that one thing? If you could explain it with one thing, your advice.
I have been open to things that I have said no to in the past, or that I shut off.
Good.
I'm a connector. I love meeting new people, don't get me wrong, but I have in my head said, you already know what you need to know. Okay. Or you've already met the people you need to know. Okay. It's about, I've had to look at things with fresh eyes.
Yes.
So that's what I've done. My biggest advice is tap into what you already know, or who you already know. If you're feeling stuck,
tap into who you know and what you already know is incredible advice. So thank you, Dana. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks,
and thank you so much, and congratulations for being a published author in Rising into Greatness. Yes. And thank you so much for being part of this journey.
No, thank you, Joe. It's been a blessing, and it certainly has been at a very critical part of my life. And I think some of the amazing things that have coming have been fueled by the fact that I did this program with you and Jane, and had the support just to be able to explore my self-development or my self-discovery stuff sooner rather than later.
Fantastic. And now I'm waiting for you all to get your copy, which will be
any
day now. You'll be holding this in your hand. Yeah. So thank you so much, Dana. Thank you so much. And congratulations once again.
Thanks, Joe. Thank you.
Thank you.